So today we're going to do an app that uses an API. So this is one of the features where you can actually extract data from external source using the API. And in this case, we're just going to create a simple weather API. Now, before we do that, I want you all to type. What is it? Is it open? Yeah, open weather map. Open weather map. Click on open weather map. So you'll see that there is this particular link, current weather and forecast open weather map. So click on that. Now what you need to do is, of course I've already logged in. You need to sign in. That means you just do a simple registration. Can you do that? You just need to put in your name, your user ID, and also your email, and you'll receive an email to verify. So just do that. So let me just try to log out. If you log out, then you need to create an account, right? This is create new account. So you just give a username. What is your email? This email, make sure it's a valid email because you'll receive the verification through this email. Then you set your password, and you just have to tell that you are 16 years and older, and you agree with the policy. Now this last three you don't have to tick to receive the data communication or things like that. The last three you don't have to do. Only the first two, you're 16 years old and also you agree with the privacy policy. These are the things that you need to do. And then you just click you're not a robot, then you click create account. Then you'll receive an email. So just verify your email. All right. So once you have verified, then you can actually sign in. So once you sign in, you will see of course you signed in successfully. Note is there. Have all of you signed in successfully? Now when you sign in successfully, you will see that you have various tabs on top, right? Various tabs on top. Now what you want to look at is the API key. You click on the API tab. So there is this key. Okay, so this key is unique for your account. All right. So just keep it there. Just keep it there. So let's go to Thunkable now. So everyone at Thunkable. So Thunkable, we are going to create a new app. So just click the new app. Then we're going to create as you can just name it as weather app. Of course, select a category. If you are lost in any portion, raise your hand and ask. Don't wait until too long. So this is going to be a weather app. And then you're going to create the app. So this is the weather app. So what we're going to have, how is the layout is going to be. So this screen one, let's rename this as our home screen. So this is our home screen. Just going to have one screen. And what we're going to do is we are going to include a button, a viewer list, and also two labels and a map. Okay. So in order for us to do that, let us first put a search for column. Sorry. So first we're going to select the layout column. So why the layout column? Because it allows us to stack components one on top of the other. So inside this column layout, we are going to arrange our buttons, our list viewer. List viewer, we're going to set few states, and also we're going to set the label and also two labels that we're going to do. So let us drag and drop the column here. So under the column 1, the height we can actually put as fit contents, right? The height we can actually put as fit contents. Everyone can see, right? So now it's okay. Only change the height to be the fit contents. Now under here, what we want to add is, let's add a button. So drag and drop. Now you see when you drag and drop, it seems like the button is not, it's actually below the column. It's not inside the column. We want it to be inside the column. So click on the button. You see when you're dragging it up, do you see the orange line? The orange line below means it should be below, but if you bring it a bit up, do you see on the side? That means we want it to be inside. So now the button falls under the column 1. Now this button, let's rename as select city button. So we are just going to have like maybe 3 cities which we will be able to see the weather. So we will do that. So just select city button. Select city button. Alright. So on the text button, maybe you can choose any 3 cities that you want. Any 3 cities. Your choice. Your hometown or wherever it is. Your choice. The city can be anywhere in the world. So you can choose. So I'm going to just put Putrajaya city here. So font size, maybe you can make it 24, a bit larger. Maybe the background color I remove. The text color, maybe I'll put something bluish or something. Okay. So you can also view this live on your app to see how it looks like. Thunkable Live. Let's see, where is it? Where's my Thunkable Live? Okay. So are you able to see the home with the app? Let's see. So far I only can see like this, right? Single button. So later, of course, I'm not going to do much on the outline or the layout. You can actually explore that to make your buttons much more nicer. Okay. Now let us add another second component, which is the list viewer. List. Let's see, it's able to. Yeah. We have the list viewer. This list viewer, we want it to also be inside the column. So put it inside. I think it didn't come. So when you drag and drop list viewer, now it actually comes on top of it. So we're going to drag and we're going to put it below button. This is list viewer. Of course, you can't. Yeah, list viewer also inside the column. You can see here it's inside the column. There, these two, the button and also the list viewer is also there. List viewer. Now we want to add 2 labels. What is this? Later I'll explain what each function is actually doing. This list viewer will display another 2 more city for you to actually select. Okay. My battery is low. 2 minutes only remaining. Okay, let's do it fast. So let's search for label. So you're going to drag and drop the label. So the label also we want it to be inside. So drag two labels. You want to have two. So now everything is inside the column, right? Select city button, list viewer, label 1, label 2. So click on the label 1. Click on label 1 and rename it as, let's say this is temperature label. Okay. So you can remove the text on the label also. Font size is 18, that's fine. You can actually make it bigger later on. And then label 2, the second label is actually, we can name it as credits label. So for the credits label, we can say that this app is powered by weather, open weather map. This is a credits API. So all these things are there. Let's see how it actually looks on your app. This is not how it's supposed to be. Let me launch back. Okay, so it looks something like this, right, on your phone app. So don't worry, we will actually add some margin between each one of it. So what we do is we click on the first one on the button. What we can do is we can create some margin below. Let's say 10, but in terms of pixel, maybe we can use percentage. And for the list viewer, we can also do the same. Maybe this margin can be just 5%. Then you have the temperature label. The temperature label, you also maybe can just put 5%. And finally, this one, this credits label, you just can put maybe 5%. So at least now you can see some distance that are there. Not to worry. So now we want to add the maps component at the bottom there. So you search for map. If any one of you come across any difficulties, do let me know. So this map is not inside column, it's outside of column, but we want it to be below the column. So let's drag the whole thing here and put on the bottom. How do we get what? This map. This is the map component. Drag and drop the map component. So on your phone, you'll be able to see something like this. If you think the map height is too much, of course you can actually change the height. Let's see if it's 80%. Still big. It's more bigger. So let's say 50%. Or maybe 60. The 60 looks something like this, so it's fine on how I look at it. So now, of course, the map is actually showing San Francisco, but because the first city that I put that it's displaying is Putrajaya, so whatever that you have put, you can actually search also. So I'm going to search for Putrajaya coordinates. Putrajaya coordinate. So So you can see it returns the coordinate. So you can put this, the latitude, and you can put whatever city that you have chosen, you can also search the same. So now when your app opens, it actually by default it shows Putrajaya. Right, then you can actually change zoom level, how you want to actually change whatever zoom level that you want to set. So you can set the zoom level. It's not a problem. Is that okay? So if you added the map and also the button, everything's nicely added. So one of the things that we want to add now is we want to add the web API. So go here, you can actually search for web API. So that's web API. So drag and drop it here. So this will come under invisible components. So the web API, just to make sense, you can just rename it as open weather map API. Open weather map API. You don't have to do anything here. Just add the open weather map API. All right. So now let us do some magic in the blocks. So now, okay, just very quickly. So Putrajaya is the button, whereby whenever we click the button, currently by default it shows Putrajaya and Putrajaya map, and by right it's supposed to show Putrajaya's temperature, current temperature. So when we click on the button, what we want to do is we want the list viewer to show the other two cities, and whatever city that we click, that will be that city's map and also the city's temperature will be shown. So that's the idea that we want to actually do. All right, so let's go. So the first thing that we want to do is let us create a variables. Remember earlier when you have created this API key, so we need to use this API key. So we are going to create a variable. Let's initialize a variable. We're going to create 4 variables. So just duplicate and keep 4 variables. So first variable that we're going to create is the API key. So this variable will hold the API key. So because this is the initialization, so we'll initialize it to an empty string. API key. Second one, because we are having more than one city, right? So we need to create a variable that has the city list. So this will be known as the city list variable, and this will be a list. So we'll initialize it to empty list initially under the list. Now these 2 variables, of course, we will be using it later. So we will define this as we go along, so that it will make more sense of why we are going to create these 2 variables. Is that okay? Now, these 2 variables we'll visit back. We'll come back and say why we want to use these 2 variables. So now what we want to do is when the screen opens, what we actually want to do. So when the screen opens, so where's the screen? When home. So what we want to do, this one. When the home opens, what we want to do is we want to actually capture the API key, and we want to actually set the variable API key to our API. So that means we need to set the app variable API key to the API value, right? So earlier it was empty string. Now this API key is what you're going to copy from your API key here. So you're going to copy, you're going to copy the key and you're going to paste it. Yeah. API key is under when you're logged in. You see there's various tabs, right? You click on API key tab. So you'll be able to see the key. Got it? So paste it there. And then now we also want to define, yes. You have to register. Did you click verify in your email? Did you click verify in your email? So then here, this one under API key. API key, are you in the same page when you logged in? Did you log in? Do you see your name? Are you logged in or not? Oh, that's why. So you're going to set the API key, and we're also going to set the city. So we're going to set the app variable city list. So we're going to create a list. So this is a list. So you're going to add here. Of course, we only have 2 cities. So we're going to click on the settings icon and remove 1 item. So only have 2. So the others you can move. So this one you can throw away because this is numeric. We want to create a string. So you take the empty text, just put it here. This one you can duplicate. So another 2 more cities are your choice. I'm just going to put maybe Kajang, and also going to put maybe Kuala Lumpur. 2 cities of your choice, whatever city. Okay, so we are, when the home screen opens, it will capture the API key and also will store these 2 values in the variable city list. And what we want to do is we want to pass this app variable city value to the list viewer. So where is the list viewer? List viewer is here. So we want to set the list viewer text items to app variable city list. Everyone okay? There's something here. So are you able to see the changes that happened? I'm checking now on my Go Live. So you can see, you can't really see the list viewer here yet, right? So what we want to do is when we click on the button, so in order for us to do that, so select city button. So whenever select city button is clicked, what we actually want to do is we want to increase the list viewer height to be viewable, right? When we click that, we want the list viewer items to be noticeable. So what we do is, where is it? List viewer, set list viewers, set height. This one. Set list viewer height to, this one we set to 300 to make it much more visible. And then map, we want to change the map's height, set map height. So when you do this, when the button is clicked, you can see that the map disappears and the list viewer comes big. So you can actually choose the city. That's the idea. And also we want the temperature label height. Set temperature label height. Height, yeah. So this one also is set to 0. So when we click on the button, the only thing that we want it to expand is the list viewer, and the map disappears, and also the temperature label also disappears. Okay, so that's what happens when you click on the city. So meaning to say, whenever you click on the city, the list viewer height becomes big, so you're able to view the list viewer items. And then now, you remember in list viewer, you can actually select, right? Select the items. So whenever you select items, what you want it to happen. So for that, you can see under list viewer, when list viewer item is clicked, when each one of the items is clicked, what you want to do. So when the list item is clicked, so what we want it to do is we want the list viewer to now disappear. So we can duplicate this. We want the list viewer to disappear. Sorry. So this one can make it 0. We want to increase back the map size. So map size, you can actually put, let's say, 300. Then the temperature label also, you want it to appear back. So this one maybe you can just put 100 height. And because whatever item that you click, earlier the select city button was Putrajaya, right? So now if you select Kajang, we also want to update the select city button's name to Kajang. So that is select city button, set select city button's text to. So this one, it should be item. This one should be the item. Which item that you click. Is that okay? So this is making some effect. Later when you actually see so far, then you'll be able to see. So let's see whether it's working now or not. So when you click on Putrajaya, then you should be able to see the two lists there, right? And whenever, like for example, if you click on Kajang, it should now change to Kajang, and the map should become big back. But currently, of course, when you click Kajang, the map of Putrajaya is still the same map. So we need to also change some things, right? So here, we are going to add some conditional operator here. Because we have two cities, I have added Kajang and also Kuala Lumpur. So we want to select, if we select Kajang, we want to update the latitude and longitude of Kajang. If we select Kuala Lumpur, we want to update that in the map. So we're going to use the control operator. We're going to do the if, and we're going to do if else also. So we can add else if. So why 2? Because we're going to check for two conditions. If the item selected is Kajang, then do this. Else if the item selected is Kuala Lumpur, then do something. So here we're going to use the logic operator. We're going to see whether it's equal or not. So here what we want to check is, we want to see if the selected city button text, selected city button text, select city button text, If it's equal to, so let's say if it's equal to Kajang, so I'm going to put if it's equal to Kajang, what we want to do. So same thing, you can copy this whole thing, duplicate, you can put it here also. If it's equal to Kuala Lumpur. So if the selected city button, because now when you click on one of the items, it will automatically change, right? Select between select city button text to the item that you select. In this case, it's either Kajang or Kuala Lumpur. So if it's Kajang, what we want to do, just now, if you see on your live, you'll see that the map is still Putrajaya. So we need to change the map's latitude and longitude. So if you go to map, you will see the option of set maps latitude and also set maps longitude. So this one Kajang. So we need to find what is Kajang coordinate or whatever city that you put. This Kajang, I'm going to update this Kajang. So I've updated the Kajang. So likewise, you also want to do the same for Kuala Lumpur. So you can duplicate and duplicate. So find out what is the coordinate for Kuala Lumpur or whatever city that you search. So this is Kuala Lumpur. So I managed to have this Kuala Lumpur coordinates. Now can you check on your app now? If you click on Putrajaya, then you click on Kajang. Do you see the Kajang map? Managed to get? Checking on my Tangkabal Live as well. Able to get it? Yeah. This one? The logic. When home opens. This one? This one? Uh-huh. It's a set a variable API key. So is the app now able to view? So each time whenever you click on the names, then you click on each city, then it opens that particular city. Okay, we still have some work to do. So now what we have actually done is, of course, when you click on the viewer item click, then it actually changes, right? Based on the item, it changes the map latitude and longitude. So the final part that we want to do is, now we want to get that weather data, right? So in order for us to get the weather data, we're going to create a function. So let's create on functions, and you have the first one. So you create a function. So this function, we can name it as get weather function, because we need to call the function here in the home and also whenever we click on the list viewer. So here's where we're going to use the Open Weather API. We're going to set the Open Weather API URL. So this is important. I'll put it here. Now this URL, if you go to the open, okay, you have already copied your keys, right? If you click on API on top, this is in the Open Weather map. So if you click on API, you can see all the weather API that you're able to get. So there's one which is known as the current weather data. If you click on the API documentation, this is how you make the API call, how you make a request to actually get the data. So that's why I copy and paste it here. So if you see here, this is how you're supposed to put the URL. But here there is something that you need to specify. You need to specify the latitude. You need to specify what is the longitude. You need to specify your API key, ampersand Unix metric. This one will determine in what units you want to receive your data. Of course, the parameters are here. We don't have time to go through all that. But because now we have a variable that we need to enter into the API call, so we need to now make such modification to this URL. So this URL you can actually copy until the latitude equals 2. If you go to here, the call weather data, this one, this is exactly the same thing. This is under API. When you click API, there's weather API. Scroll down, there is current and forecast weather data collections, right? Do you see the first one? Current weather data. Current weather data, and click on API documentation. So when you click on that, that is how to make an API call. So this one, the format. So this is the format. So if you copy and paste it, I'm just going to copy paste below. This is it. So you need to copy, we need to break this down. So what we're going to do here is, under the URL, we can't put it in a single URL. We need to use a join. So you go to text, that is this join. Use this join. And here you can actually drag and drop, I think around 6. Let me just drop and drop. As we need, then we will add some more. So for the first join, we are only going to take from here, let equals 2. And paste it here. Now what this join will do is, it will join all the strings together as a single string. But what happens is, the second one, we actually need this one, right? The latitude value, right, of the city that we select. So for that, now is where we are going to use these two variables. So this will be the city latitude, and this will be the city longitude. Of course, this one we can actually initialize it to 0 first. So we're creating a variable that will hold the city latitude and the city longitude. And where we're going to use it? We're going to use it here. Here. So set variable, so we put it here. So this is set city latitude, and you can duplicate this. Set city longitude, and we're going to copy the maths here. So what we're going to do, we're going to copy this value and put it here. Copy this value and put it here. So that when you select Kajang, Kajang's latitude and longitude are saved into the city latitude and longitude. So the same thing you can actually do for Kuala Lumpur as well. Duplicate. So copy. So this one longitude, make sure you select correctly. So copy the latitude, copy the longitude. So now what happens is, here we want to string it together with the app city latitude. So what happens? Do you see? This is the latitude, right? So in the string, what happens? You are copying until here, this one until here, right? Then you are joining with the latitude, which is whatever latitude they are providing. Then we need to continue with n ln equals 2. So here we put n ln equals 2. We need to duplicate, we need to join with long. So that means now we covered this one, this part. Then we need to do this n APID equals 2. So text APID. So what we are doing, we are actually combining, all these things will combine together. So these two parts, the city latitude and longitude, they are variables, so they can change. Now we need to add some more. So what is our ID? Where is our ID? API key is here, right? API key. So now it fulfills this requirement. The API key is done. And then we're going to do this one, n% unique. Units equals 2. So this one we can actually duplicate. Put it here, duplicate, put it here. So this one will be units equals to metric. So where do I get this unit equals to metrics all from? It's actually from the API documentation. If you look at how to read the weather, where is it? The unit of measurement. So we are using metric. So metric means it returns in Celsius. If you use imperial, there you see the documentation says if you want in Fahrenheit, use imperial. If you want to get the temperature in Celsius, use metric. So that's why we are using that in metric. Is that okay? So we have done that. Now, after establishing the URL correctly, now we want to get the values. You want to get the value. So now it gets, based on this, that whatever that we have provided, it will actually get the values. So what you have to do here is we want to assign the temperature label. Remember, the temperature label is what it's supposed to change accordingly, right? So temperature label, set temperature labels text too. Now here, whenever the API request is being done, the response, the response is given in JSON format. So it's a different particular type of format. So because it's actually sending in JSON format, we need to do data parsing. Data parsing means we need to get that data and process the data into a format that Thunkable can understand. So for that, there is this particular thing known as object. So we will use join because the object requires for us to actually join. So this one we can remove. Hello can remove. So we will use this function known as object. Get property, this one. Oh, this one accidentally deleted. This one can put it here also. Get property of what is the property of this object? So if you go to weather map, if you see where is the weather parameters, there, the fields in API response. So we are actually looking at weather, right? Sorry, the temperature. So the keyword is temperature, but this temperature is also under another object which is known as main. So we need to use the same keyword which is temperature. So get property is actually temperature, but this temperature property is also from the object main. This is the main. Under the main there are other objects. So again, one more time, we need to get the property of, so this is main. So you are getting the temperature object from the main object, and finally you get that object from the JSON format. So this will give you the temperature, and here we want to actually type degree Celsius. So degree is the shortcut, the key is, let me try, alternate plus 0176. So you get that degree. This is for Windows. For Mac you have to find out. You click alternate, then plus 0176, you will get the degree sign. So now when you actually do on your app, you should be able to see. Should be able to see the degrees. Putrajaya is 27. If I click Kajang, it's 30, it will change. And Kuala Lumpur, 32.57. And the map will change also according to each. So now, just a minor thing, this is the function. So, but now we have to add these functions here. So get weather function, you have to put it in the main when home opens, as well as when you click on the list viewer item. Function, get weather. Two places you need to put. And then only you'll be able to view it that way. You'll be able to see the weather. Okay, so for each and every one of you, you can actually send a screenshot of your work, a short video, and send it to me in Telegram. Mention your name and your ID. So those who submit, I'll mark your attendance. Is that okay? I'll also share the recordings. Any question? Yes. The get weather, is it? One is here. When the screen opens, another one is here. Because when the screen opens, you want automatically to see what's the weather, right? Oh, there's a small bug here. When the screen opens, get weather, the Putrajaya's one we didn't define. So only later when you click on the Kajang or Kuala Lumpur, then it will show the weather values. Okay, I'll stop recording.